everybody, it's me, Miss Mariah, at the Elm City Library today. For today's pajama story time, we're going to talk about Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday that's celebrated for 8 days in the winter, and today is the next to last day of Hanukkah, which means tomorrow or Friday is the last day of Hanukkah for this year. So, for our first book, we're going to read Hanukkah Bear by Eric A. Kimmel. Old Bear awoke from his winter sleep. He poked his nose outside his den. What was that? Something to eat. Old Bear's empty stomach rumbled. He shook himself all over, then lumbered out of his den to follow the delicious smell. Baba Brana took the last potato latke from the pan and put it in the oven with the others. Baba Brana was 97 years old, and she did not hear or see as well as she used to, but she still made the best potato latkes in the village. Every year at Hanukkah time, all her friends came to her house on the edge of the forest. How they loved those latkes! Baba Brana always made plenty, but tonight she made twice as many as usual. Tonight was special. Tonight, the rabbi was coming. Baba Brana hurried to get ready. Just then, she heard a thump on the door. She opened it. "Rabbi, you're here early. How nice to see you." "Grumph," growled Old Bear. "Happy Hanukkah to you, too. Please come in." Old Bear walked into the house. "I'll take your coat, Rabbi." "My, how thick it is." Baba Brana tugged at Old Bear's fur. Old Bear roared, "Growl." "Oh, you want to keep your coat on? Well, that's all right. It is chilly in here." Old Bear's nose twitched. "Humph." "Thank you, Rabbi. How kind of you to say that. The latkes will taste even better than they smell." Old Bear followed his nose to the oven. "Rabbi, I'm surprised at you. You know we don't eat until we light the menorah." "Grrr." "That's all right. I know you were teasing. I'll light the candles. Will you say the blessings?" "Rumph." Baba Brana struck a match and lit the shamus candle. She lit the one for the first night. Old Bear muttered and growled, "Rumph, grrr." Who has kept us alive, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this season? "Oh, Rabbi, you say the blessings so beautifully." Baba Brana sat down at the table. Old Bear sat next to her. "Let's play dreidel. We'll use these nuts." Old Bear cracked one with his teeth. "Rabbi, you won't have any nuts for the game if you eat them." Growled Old Bear. "Don't worry. I have plenty of nuts if you need more." Baba Brana spun the dreidel. It stopped on the letter Gimel. "I win!" Baba Brana swept the nuts into her apron. Old Bear roared. "Don't be angry, Rabbi. It's only a game." She tossed him a nut. Old Bear begged for more. "No, Rabbi, no more nuts. It's time for dinner." Bubba Braina opened the oven door and took out a platter piled high with steaming potato latkes. Old Bear sniffed the latkes as she set them on the table. "Do you prefer sour cream or jam?" Bubba Braina asked. "Rrrr," Old Bear growled. "Jam. I thought so." Bubba Braina smeared 5 big latkes with jam and stacked them on Old Bear's plate. Old Bear gobbled them down. Bubba Braina laughed. "You should use a fork. You have jam all over your beard." She wet a towel and wiped Old Bear's face. "I must tell you, Rabbi, you eat like a bear." "I'm hungry like a bear, so I eat like one." "I can see that," Bubba Braina said. Old Bear ate and ate until the latkes were gone. He felt drowsy. His head flopped on Bubba Braina's lap. "Rabbi, you're sleepy." Who wouldn't be sleepy after such a meal? "All the latkes are gone. It's time to go home." "But before you leave, I have a Hanukkah present for you." Bubba Braina took a red scarf from her knitting basket. She wrapped it around Old Bear's neck. "I made it myself." "Grrr." Old Bear licked Bubba Braina's face. Bubba Braina blushed. "Oh, Rabbi, at my age." Old Bear shuffled to the door. "Rumph," he growled as he walked off into the night. "Good night to you too, Rabbi. Happy Hanukkah." Bubba Braina was washing dishes when she heard another knock. "I wonder who that is." "Shalom, Bubba Braina." All her friends stood at the door wishing her a happy Hanukkah. "Shalom, everybody," Bubba Braina said. "How nice to see you. I'm sorry I don't have any more latkes. The rabbi came by. He ate them all." "Bubba Braina, don't you recognize me?" It was the rabbi. "The rabbi couldn't have eaten your latkes," everyone said. "He's been with us in the synagogue." Bubba Braina rubbed her forehead. "Something strange is happening. Rabbi, I think there is an impostor going around. He looks like you. He talks like you. He even has your beard." Just then the children cried, "Look at the floor! Bear tracks! A bear!" And I thought it was the rabbi. Bubba Braina had to sit down. Soon she began to giggle. That was a very clever bear. Or a very foolish Bubba Braina. Ah, well, let the bear have a happy Hanukkah. I had a happy Hanukkah too, and so will you, dear friends. Bring some potatoes from the cellar. Fetch my grater and bowl. Everyone has to help. You too, Rabbi. If we all work together, we'll soon have latkes for everyone. Deep in the forest, Old Bear slumbered in his den. His stomach was full of potato latkes. The warm woolen scarf was wrapped snugly around his neck. Pleasant dreams, Old Bear, and happy Hanukkah. All right, I hope you enjoyed that book. We have another book here called Queen of the Hanukkah Dosas by Pamela Ehrenberg. It wasn't that I didn't want my little sister Sadie to help us make dosas for Hanukkah. The problem was she climbed too much. I explained this to my mom on Thursday. I explained this to my dad on Friday. I explained this to my ama on Saturday. By Sunday, Hanukkah was almost here. When my family picked me up from Hebrew school, my mom smiled the whole way to Little India Market. I'm pretty sure I've never seen anyone from Hebrew school at the Indian market. And I'm almost positive I've never seen anyone from the market dropping off kids at Hebrew school. But I'm absolutely 100% confident that I've never seen anyone from either place climb as much as Sadie does. Couldn't she have stayed home, I asked. But nobody answered. We scooped up 3 kinds of dal from the bulk food bins. I had just placed a sack of rice in our cart when I heard Sadie yell, "Up! Up!" I turned around in time to see her climb up a pyramid of coconut milk. Cans rolled everywhere. "Come down, Sadie," said Ama. But Sadie didn't move. The little kids at Hebrew school had been practicing the dreidel song, and I guess the tune was stuck in my head. Without thinking about it, I started to sing very softly. I had a little dosa, I made it out of dal. A big grin spread across Sadie's face, and amazingly, she climbed down. At home, the dal and rice had to soak for a long time. Sadie insisted on wearing her dreidel costume while we wrapped Hanukkah gifts and strung paper dreidels in the windows. Making Indian food that my mom ate as a kid for a Jewish holiday that my dad grew up with, that was a lucky combination. But what felt even luckier was that the house was still standing after a whole afternoon with Sadie. When the rice and dal were ready, we pulverized them in the grinder. "Up! Up!" yelled Sadie, climbing onto the counter to push the button. "Come down, Sadie," said Mom, but Sadie stayed where she was. Was there a chance the song could work again? Just in case, I started to sing very softly. I had a little dosa, I made it out of dal. Sure enough, Sadie grinned and climbed down. Finally, I added just a little salt. "Up! Up!" yelled Sadie, climbing onto the bench and knocking the salt out of my hands. "Come down, Sadie," said Dad, but the smiling Sadie stayed put. Now, I was an expert. I could handle this. One more time, I sang very softly. I had a little dosa, I made it out of dal. This time, Sadie giggled when she climbed down. Monday afternoon, we all rushed home from school and work. It was time to make the dosas. Just like the Maccabees, my mom rubbed oil in a pan called a tawa, where we cook the dosas. When my mom lit the stove, the flame burned as brightly as I imagined the temple burning all those years ago. The dosas sizzled in the coconut oil, and our whole house smelled like Hanukkah. Amma turned off the stove, put the last batch of dosas in the still warm oven, and went upstairs for a nap. Just then, our cousins arrived to celebrate the first night of Hanukkah with us. Mom and Dad and Sadie ran outside to say hello. I followed them outside and almost didn't notice when the door clicked shut behind me. Uh-oh. Mom jiggled the doorknob. "Who's got the key?" called Dad. I pressed the doorbell over and over, even though we all knew it was broken. My cousins banged on the door, but Amma didn't hear us. "Up! Up!" yelled Sadie. We ignored her and stared at the doorknob. I imagined the bowls of sambar on the dining room table, ready for us to dip our dosas into. I could even smell the dosas through the kitchen window, which Amma had opened to let out the heat. "Up! Up!" Sadie yelled again. This time we looked at her. I was too big to fit through the window, but without her dreidel costume, Sadie had a chance. Quicker than rolling cans of coconut milk, I helped Sadie out of her costume. Speedier than soaring lentils, Dad boosted her up into the window. And faster than flying fenugreek, Sadie climbed inside, with Mom holding her legs. She landed on the kitchen table and waved at us. "Let us in, Sadie," said my cousins. "Or at least wake up your grandma," said my aunt. But Sadie stayed where she was. Would my trick work with an audience this big? I was ready to try. I started the song. "I had a little dosa, I made it out of doll." But this time Sadie didn't climb down. Instead, she grinned and clapped her hands and kept looking at me, waiting for more. If only I'd known what else to sing. But it was hard to think with the smell of dosas making me super hungry. I imagined gobbling up hundreds of dosas, then filling my plate with more. Suddenly, I knew how to end the song. I sang, "It tasted very yummy, I had to eat it all." Sadie burst out laughing. Then she climbed down and opened the door for us. Everyone rushed inside. Mom went upstairs to wake Amma. My aunt took the dosas out of the oven, while my cousins and I put candles in the Hanukkah menorah. "Up! Up!" yelled Sadie. Dad lifted Sadie, queen of the Hanukkah dosas, onto his shoulders as Mom and Amma came downstairs. "It's a good thing she's such a great climber," I said. I always knew her climbing would come in handy. Mom's eyes shone as brightly as the candles. Dad said, "I wonder if Judah Maccabee's big brother was surprised when he turned out to be useful." I grinned as I piled dosas on my plate, filled a cup with mango lassi, and ran to join my cousins. The end. All right, everybody. Well, that's the end of story time today, but before we go, I wanted to let you know that if you enjoyed these books and you want to learn more about Hanukkah, we have even more. We have Happy Hanukkah Little Dreidel, and if you really liked Hanukkah Bear, we have another copy of it that's a board book, and it's a little shorter. And there's also the Story of Hanukkah. And if you really, really liked the Hanukkah Bear, we have another book by Eric A. Kimmel called Simon and the Bear. And if you like latkes, we have the Borrowed Hanukkah Latkes by Linda Glazer. And we have even more all over at all of our branches. So all you have to do is say, "Hi, I'm looking for books about Hanukkah," and we can help you out. Well, I'm going to go now. but it was so nice to see you all, and I hope you all have a happy Hanukkah, happy holidays, and a good night.